Let's see. Well, hot dog. I didn't think my next car profile would be the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile. So here we are, Fairfield, California. You feel me? I wish the drivers were around, but I'm sure they're getting sleep or something right now. But I'll still kind of take a peek up in there. Now this is actually something pretty cool to like learn about. Look, we got another person down here taking a look. I think only 5 of these exist on the road, so this is a one of 5 at the moment anyway. And it's just kind of like an iconic piece of motor history, I think. And it's kind of just like totally random to be able to come across this thing. Look, it's definitely out here checking out the hot dog mobile, the Wienermobile. So yeah, I'll figure out some details about this thing. And I will fill you in on the history about the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile. Car profiles for real time. Keep it lit. I wonder if it's all-wheel drive. Can't really tell. I'm not trying to get the police called on me for trying to steal a catalytic converter off this thing.
Oscar Mayer's Wienermobile isn't immune to crime. Raising thieves here in the valley targeted the iconic vehicle, stealing its catalytic converter this morning. The 27-foot-long hot dog on wheels was supposed to make a stop at the Smiths on Warm Springs, but it had to make a pit stop this morning after the thieves struck.
So in 1936, the original Wienermobile was created. It was created by the General Body Company of Chicago in the shape of a hot dog to help promote the brand around the Chicago area. And the driver, as you can see, just kind of stuck out through the middle of it. It was more like a tank than anything, apparently. And in the 1940s, it was scrapped for metal to help the U.S. Army during World War II. The next generation was created in the mid-1940s, and it definitely looked more like a car for sure. And the gas rationing during World War II eventually led to its demise as well. Then in 1952, a new Wienermobile model hit the streets. It was built by the Girton Slogger or Glizzy Slogger company out of Wooster, Ohio, and it was built on a Dodge truck chassis. And now the driver actually sat in front of the car, or the Wienermobile, and it had a V8 Chevrolet 350 in it, and some of these models still survive today, and there's actually one at the Henry Ford Museum. In 1958, Brooks Stevens released a model of the Wienermobile. It was based off of a Willys Jeep chassis, and it lasted about a decade, I guess. And if you look at the front end of that thing, it resembles a helicopter cockpit, if you will. In 1969, they released another model, and now this one was actually built in-house. It was a Wienermobile mechanic project. They had their own mechanics that built this thing, and it was built out of a Chevrolet motorhome chassis with the taillights from a Ford Thunderbird, and it was powered by a V6 engine. It was the first Wienermobile to travel overseas, and these still exist at the headquarters of Oscar Mayer to this very day. In 1976, a company called Plastic Products ran a authorized replica of the Wienermobile that came before it, made out of fiberglass and styrofoam, and they didn't really improve upon the vehicle's mechanical parts. And like the 1969 version of the Wienermobile, it was built on a Chevrolet motorhome chassis, but this time a 1973 motorhome chassis. This would be the last version of the Wienermobile before the entire fleet was retired in 1977, and the Wienermobile would make a brief comeback in 1986 to celebrate its 50th anniversary. Now, I can't find any pictures of this thing, and looking at this picture right here, it doesn't look like the vehicle would have been that big. So I'm kind of confused as to what this references, but moving on. 1988, the Stevens Automotive Corporation worked with Oscar Mayer to re-release the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile in a program to hire college students on summer break as hot doggers to drive the cars around the country. 10 models were created in total. 6 models were created initially sporting a V6 engine, sitting on a Chevy van chassis. It sported Thunderbird taillights, and these hot dogs had microwave ovens, refrigerators, cellular telephones, and stereo systems. They later created 4 more that would tour Japan and Spain. 7 years later, in 1995, the Harry Bentley Bradley Company jumped into the future using CAD for the first time. That's computer-aided design software to design this Wienermobile. It was 100% custom designed, and the new design incorporated Grand Am headlights and Trans Am taillights, and the General Motors vehicle featured a state-of-the-art video equipment system, including a big screen television. It took things up a notch with a hot dog shaped dashboard, and a fleet of 6 was created, serving until 2003. In 2000, Craftsman Industries created 2 of the new Wienermobiles, powered by a GM 5700 Vortec V8 on a GMC W series chassis. And in 2001, they redesigned it, and this time it came with a Ram 1500 series chassis with a flipped axle with a 5.2 liter Magnum V8 engine. Other than that, it's virtually the same as the 2000 model, the only difference being the chassis, and they switched that because of constant suspension issues and overall handling of the vehicle. And that brings us to 2004. This prototype source created vehicle was made of a fleet of 6, and I think they're the ones that are on the road today. They switched back to the GMC W series chassis and maintained 300 horsepower with a 6 liter 5700 Vortec V8, and they are capable of making at or above 300 horsepower. Oscar Mayer continued their business with Prototype Source, and they developed this 15-foot Wienermobile out of a Mini Cooper S hardtop with a 1.6 liter turbocharged inline 4 motor. This mini Wienermobile was simply created to celebrate Oscar Mayer's 125th anniversary. It was about half the size of the rest of the fleet at 15 feet long, 8 feet high, and it only weighed about 3,600 pounds. In 2011, they released a 75th anniversary food truck, which was the first Oscar Mayer Wienermobile that actually served food out of it. And to this day, that would be the 8th Oscar Mayer Wienermobile ever created to date, including the Mini Cooper version. And that brings us to today, 2023. They renamed it the Frank Mobile to try to promote their all-natural beef Franks or whatever. And the internet wasn't having that, so they immediately switched back. So thousands of people apply for these jobs to be what they call hot dogger. Those are what they call the drivers for these vans or Wienermobiles, whatever. And they get compensated about $44,000 a year. The exact amount is not disclosed, but it's a pretty reasonable pay rate, I guess, for just driving around. But I just wanted to wrap up this video with one last fun fact in this infographic screenshot here from The wiki page shows all the different manufacturers, the chassis, and the engines that they used throughout the years. And one last fun fact before I wrap up this video. A race car driver by the name of Al Unser Jr. apparently took a Wienermobile, the 1988 version, out on the Indy 500 racetrack and did a few laps with it and hit a top speed of about 110 miles per hour. So try and catch up with that. You know what I'm saying? There's no videos of it, there's no photos of it that I can find on the internet. I'm sure they exist. I mean, who wouldn't take a picture of something that funny? But yeah, with only 6 of these on the road to this day, you're gonna want to relish every moment that you have when you can see one in person. That's gonna do it for this video. You guys, catch you in the next one. Peace out. Yer. But yeah, pretty dope. I did not expect to see this thing here on my little bike ride to go get some stuff for making some pizza at the house. Sick.